Welcome back, Morning Coffee with Tim. Again in this fancy studio. The quality's amazing. We've just had an incredible guest on, and we've got another incredible guest in, just fresh off Errigal. Looking great, feeling tired, but he's going to bring the energy. Wild Irish Wanderer / Kevin. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good.
Thanks for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure, and thank you for coming down.
No problem.
I know you're not too far away. You're a local. It's been all Tyrone. It's been all Tyrone so far on the podcast, which is good. Keeping it local, support local, and all that there. But yeah, you just done Errigal.
Done Errigal this morning. Early start, 5 a.m.
See, man,
Up for sunrise.
These sunrise hikes. I love the idea of it, but the actual practically doing it is another thing.
Yeah. Well, I struggled this morning getting up. We didn't go to bed maybe like 1 last night, so 4 hours sleep. And you hear the alarm go off, and you're like, no, are we wise? And the weather as well.
Yeah.
You're like, is it really worth it? Like, but it was worth it.
You got a good sunrise?
Oh, yeah. We got it.
That must be the feeling when you get to the top and you're like, well, I guess it's when you get to the top and it's all clouds, you're like, oh my days, I should have stayed in bed.
Yeah. Well, we actually pulled up in the car park and you just seen Errigal covered in cloud. And we were like, so we just turn around and go home. But we're too far gone. And we're like, right, we'll just go and see. And thankfully the cloud lifted. But it's like that there. You do get it then. Once you see the cloud, it makes it so much more worth it then. Yeah. You're above the cloud and like, right.
The sun.
We're glad.
That's when it looks good, right? When the sun, like there's a layer of cloud and then the sun's kind of peeking up over the top.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. Sunrise, which would you prefer? Sunrise or sunset?
I think sunrise.
Sunrise?
Yeah.
Start of the day?
Start of the day. So you have the full day then. Just do what you want then, you
know? I know. I definitely need to get into hiking more. It's something that I don't do enough of. And we're going to go into this, but I know that you know all the best spots in Ireland and all over. Because there's some hidden gems around here, right? Like there's some really good mountains in Ireland.
There is.
Like what's your kind of... Actually... I'll not ask you yet because I don't want to go straight in. What's your favorite one? And also, to intro you a little bit, tell us a little bit, because I'm just chatting about mountains as if I haven't told anyone that's what you're into, that's what you do. What is your thing? Wild Irish Wanderers, your Instagram username. Mm-hmm. But what is, like, tell us a little bit about you. I hate that question, but tell us a little bit about what you do and the whole Wild Irish Wanderer thing.
What's the prep more now? Hey?
I know, it's like thinking about how to talk about yourself. You're like, I don't know what I actually do.
Well, it must have started maybe, I would say, the year before COVID. Mm-hmm. Just getting into social media. And as always away, like the summers before that, like on and off, like I was never in Ireland. Yeah. In the summertime. And then every time I came back, I was like, right, I haven't actually seen my own country. Yeah. So then I was like, right, I had my GoPro, had my camera, and all that there. I'll start taking pictures, throw them out on Instagram. Yeah. Just for my own sake and friends and family, just to see where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And then over time, it just sort of gained traction, I guess. Yeah. And then I think it was maybe 4 or 5 months into it, I started posting. And I can't remember where we were. I think it was somewhere up the north coast, like Kinbean Castle. Mm-hmm. And I got the drone at this stage as well, so a new toy to play with. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that sort of elevated it a bit more. So I was like, right, I might have a crack at this here, see if anything comes of it. Uh-huh. But at the same time, I was like, that's still Kevin Penrose at this stage on Instagram. So I was like, right, if I'm thinking ahead, should I change my username? And changed it then. But I changed it to Wild Irish Wanderer.
Yeah, I heard that on when you were on Matt's podcast. I heard you chatting about that. I was like, Wild Irish Wanderer. Yeah. Wild Irish Wanderer, I guess that appeals to, more people would know what it was.
Because it's like, appeal to the people of Ireland first. Yeah. They'd understand Wild Irish. But then it's like someone from America or halfway around the world, Europe or wherever they're.
The pronunciation would
they
be
wouldn't. They got Wild Airy, Wild Erie, Wild Ire. Yeah. Ira. Yeah. That's sort of like, it can get mixed up. Yeah. And I was like, right, I'll change to Wild Irish Wanderer then, sort of thing, Mm-hmm. And then thankfully it's stuck ever since. Yeah. And then the ventures are all going good, sort of gained traction and started gaining not many followers, but a good few, Yeah. And then COVID hits, of course, so sort of slowed that thing down. Yeah. And then we couldn't do anything, couldn't go out for ages. That first lockdown, I didn't even remember it. Man. Feels like a different lifetime ago.
My haircut I look back at videos sometimes. I was out making videos in the back fields behind my house. And it's embarrassing to look back at. Like, we didn't know what to do ourselves. Like,
that's us.
We just didn't know.
You're limited, like. Yeah. It's just homemade gyms sort of thing, and then your daily walk. Yeah. And that was it. But at that time, I was sort of like doing my research as well and practicing my skills of photography and videography. And then I think I took a course during it, like online, you know.
Yeah.
It sort of came at the same time as lockdown, and it sort of helped me with the basic skills to the advanced, and then the editing side of it all, and then the business side and how to monetize it and basically grow your business online.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped. So once lockdown, we could go out further afield.
Yeah.
I was like, right, I'm ready to go. I know what I'm shooting now. I've all planned out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think COVID actually helped push it a bit more, because people, at this time, you couldn't even drink. You couldn't even go out still.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything.
So it was, all you have to do is go for a walk, go to the beach.
Yeah.
So people were looking for things to do. And I think the mountains and the adventures is where people came to me then.
Yeah.
Like, this guy knows to go. So just shot up then, you know. And of course, then I think TikTok was just starting to become a thing before TikTok, or before lockdown.
Yeah.
And I think I had it maybe the November before lockdown happened.
That's early, like.
That was early.
That's very early.
But it wasn't posting or anything like that there. And it's just sort of like, oh, you on TikTok? And like, what am I doing? Why would I be on TikTok? Just a dancing app sort of thing I get there. Like, why would you post on it? But we all got in at the same time, like, there's a few of us, you know, in our group. And I think halfway through the summer then, we're like, oh, should we just throw some travel stuff up?
Yeah.
Like that there. And it just sort of took off. Like, some videos, like basic videos.
Yeah.
Like, just walk your feet up like that there.
Yeah.
And take a sunset video, you know, like very, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
But the people loved it. And especially the likes of Sleeve League, Kimby Castle, Errigal, for example, the Mourne Mountains. It's stuff people mightn't have seen before. Yeah. So they were like, oh my God, that's unreal. And especially if you get in like perfect conditions, like sunrise, sunset, they're going to be like, right, I want to go there. So after a couple of viral videos, I think a couple of million anyway, views on them.
Couple of million.
That audience sort of crossed over to Instagram then more, and then pushed it up more. So that's sort of where it's all started from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been non-stop ever since, I guess.
Yeah.
But at that stage in the first lockdown, coming to the second lockdown, I was still like, how do you work with the brands, the businesses, actually monetize it, make money off it sort of thing? So you're trying all these here things and reaching out to people and getting rejection after rejection, like, no, blah, blah. Or
you're learning as you go.
You're learning.
No one teaches you these things.
No, you just have to.
I wish we had a class in school that was like, everyone says this, but just more applied, like real life things, because you just started putting videos out, which is the best way to do it, putting videos out because you enjoy it. Yeah. Then it takes off and you're like, what now? What do I do? Like,
and you don't want to, you sort of want to act now once the hype is high as well. You have a couple of other videos, and that's the time to act and not leave it for a while.
100%.
And we've done that so many times where I'm just like, oh, there's a viral video, but you leave it for weeks because you don't know the next step of what to take, of how to monetize it.
You don't know what to do. Yeah.
So thankfully now, like, for me, it's sort of, I have the social media side, Wildirish Wanderer, the travel adventure, but also have like the videography business side of it as well, for local businesses and brands to help them, not only on social media, but like their in-house marketing and stuff they got there. Yeah. So it's a good mix of the two, and them skills can
complement each other,
you know? Yeah. So even though I have like the businesses and the deals and the brands with the social media part of it, I do have the videography business to fall back on in case the social media does give up someday and nothing, like, just goes dry.
You just never know. You never know with algorithms and stuff. Like, I'm sure we all think you got into TikTok pretty early on. Like, that's pretty early, because I must have started TikTok about 100 times. Like, we do 2 videos and then you're like, you just don't, you lose consistency. That's you know, it's all consistency. Like, that's what it is. I've only started being consistent now, probably like a year, I would say, like posting every day. And it could take you 3 years, 5 years to start seeing proper traction. Like, but a lot of people just don't stick with it. But you got in pretty early on. You were at the time where TikTok was like putting just videos, where the virality of it was crazy. I think now it's kind of changing a wee bit.
It was dancing videos and the likes of, remember your coffee, the frothy coffee that you used to make? Yeah. And stuff like that there. And then there's nothing really traveling or adventure, especially in Ireland, for example.
100%.
And then we got on it very early, but nowadays everyone is at it. It's the same sort of thing, you know. There's so many pages for travel, especially in Ireland. Yeah. So now it's sort of like, how do you step it up one more? Yeah. You know, and then stand out from them. What I think now is getting yourself on camera and speaking, and getting your personality across, because a lot of people are quite nervous to do that. They just don't have the confidence to do it. I think it's scary and eerie. But I suppose it's the same with everything. Like, even starting out the Wild Irish Wanderer page, I would do it and put myself out there, and people were thinking, what's this guy doing?
Yeah.
Who does he think he is? You know? Yeah. And then fast forward a couple of years, like, okay, well, what's the crack? Can I come on the hike with you? Or where would you recommend 100%. Stuff like that there? You know? But that's what they say, like, step outside your comfort zone, and like, you never know where it'll go.
Man, I couldn't agree more. And like, that's right. Look, podcast, 3 cameras. Like, I've been so used to doing audio podcasts, but I think you're right. It's like being on video, and you have to stand out, but you have to do it while being yourself. Yeah. You know, you don't want to play a character, or, you know, Instagram's full of smoke and mirrors and characters and fakeness, especially in, you know, the fitness industry. What I'm in, it's like all over the place with filters and all the rest. So I think what you're doing, you seen something that you loved, or that with the Irish travel side of things, and then you just went from there. And I'm sure you wouldn't be doing it if you weren't passionate about it. Oh yeah. You know, which 100%. Is what will help, which is what will keep you going. Because if you're not passionate about something, you don't really have the driving force behind it. No. And then it's great that it transfers over to your business too, the videography and stuff, because that's a perfect mix, like, that they both complement each other.
You only go up and get better, develop your skills even more. You know?
100%. But were you hiking before? Like the wild out? Has it been a thing that you've done kind of in your teen years?
Pretty much, I'd say since maybe 13, 14, I'd say. Yeah. First mountain I ever hiked was Errigal with my family. Nice. And snowy day, New Year's Day, I think it was. I was probably 13 or whatever.
New Year's Day, that's family New Year's Day hike. That's nice. Like,
we hated it. It was the worst. It was the worst thing in the world.
I used to go to the next sale. That was like my family thing. The next sale on Boxing Day, I think it was.
Boxing Day sales.
Me and Dad used to queue up at 5:00. I'd have rather probably been up on mine. To be honest, but
oh no, that day I remember it so well, just because the weather was awful, and we're like, oh, we'll go up anyway. Mm-hmm. And this was when, like, there's a path up Errigal now, but before the path it was just pure bogland. So you're trying to get through the bogland before you even start your hike. Yeah. And you could be covered from head to toe. And I remember it snowing as well. And we're like, what are we doing? Yeah. And there was a picture, I think there was a picture somewhere still of the group of us on top of us. Uh-huh. And I was just looking back at this. I'd actually seen it the last day. I was like, fuck. Look how far I've come, sort of thing. You know, now I'm up I've been up Errigal now maybe 7 or 8 times the past month. Yeah.
7 or 8 times the past month?
I know. It's a lot.
I need to get out hiking more. Honestly, that we're going to have to go on a hike, because I took my clients last year. Where did we do? One of the girls in my team, she loves hiking. She does like all the 7 peaks and all there up around the Mourns. So she kind of done all the route, and I just turned up. But I appreciate it so much, and on a good day, it's incredible. Yeah. And also my clients loved it, and it made such a sense of community about it. Like, we were all doing it together. And when you get to the top and you have your lunch and whatnot, and you're kind of the buzz from being at the top and the views and stuff. But I think it was Sleep Binion. Oh yeah. That's an easy one, right? Is that kind of like seen as one of the
wall or the forest way? There's 2 routes up it.
A wall, I think.
Oh, that's the shorter way.
Is that the shorter way?
Yeah, the better way.
That sounds like, I think we went up the wall. Yeah. And then
down the rounds.
Yeah, down and around, and then it was like and then down along the river.
Yeah. Binion's a good one. I haven't done it in a while. But that's what I'm saying, like, even the social aspect of it all. Yeah. Even today, for example, like, there was 3 of us that went up it, and by the time we got to the top, we met 2 more people at the top, and we're just at the top having the crack, taking it all in, you know, and then we all just went for coffee and food after. And we were buzzing. We sat in the coffee shop for about 2.5 hours just chatting about it, because you're on such a high. Yeah. And I said this to Marius. Shout out to Marius.
Marius Monaghan, yeah. Great guy. He hopefully will come on here as well at some stage. Another local lad. I'm just going around the local area, seeing anyone who wants to go on the podcast.
But I said to him, I was like, it's great doing hikes and the sunrise hikes and getting up there by yourself and stuff like that there. But the buzz you have, like, it's not the same buzz compared if you're doing it with someone as well. Yeah. Compared to yourself, like, it's, if you have people around you, it's incredible, like, you know, just to share that moment with someone. You're like, oh, I remember that time we went up Errigal.
100%. Because my clients still talk about it, and they're always like, oh, when can we do the next one? So yeah, no, I definitely, I need to get into it more. We need to go for a hike, man. But speaking of coffee, you mentioned coffee there. Yes. It being morning coffee with Tim, what's the coffee order? I need to know.
Coffee order nowadays been for maybe the past year, like an oats milk latte.
Oat milk latte. Yeah. Nice. I'm a flat white guy, but
I've been trying to get in the flat whites, but I'm just not there yet.
Not at the flat white.
I'm trying to transition myself down.
Yeah.
Because I was cappuccino guy. Then moved to
lattes. You're slowly progressing.
And then oat lattes. So the flat
white's coming next. I actually remember, this is mad, but I remember the first time I ordered a flat white. That's kind of sad that I remember when the first time. I remember one of my mates who's a cyclist, and cyclists are all into their coffee. You know the way they go on a big long cycle, and then they all meet at a shop and get a coffee. And I remember we were in Cafe Nero. Shout out Cafe Nero. And he ordered a flat white, and I was like, "What is a flat white?" I didn't know what it was, and I was like, "Let me try that." I haven't looked back since.
Right.
So Kevin, there'll be a moment for you when you have your flat white. Have you tried a flat white?
I've tried the flat white, but it's
just too strong.
It hasn't kicked the same just yet.
Yeah, just too strong.
Yeah, like I've had black coffee by itself, like Americano and stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it just depends where it comes from.
I know. I think. And what's your favorite coffee shop? Like, is there one that is there a go to? Or I suppose you're all over the place, so you kind of go around the place.
I'd say at the minute, even though you probably already know that it's Nature and Co. and I'm like, so.
Nature and Co. Richie's actually coming on the podcast. Yes, Richie's coming on the podcast. Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get him in. I spoke to him. He's a very busy man.
Set the podcast up out there.
Huh?
Set it up out there, Nature and Co.
I know. He's actually in the middle of trying to do a studio and stuff at the minute, but that's an incredible coffee shop. And they care about their coffee too, which makes a difference because I know Richie loves coffee, and I know he'd be away trying different places.
Yeah.
And whenever you taste their coffee, and it's such a nice work environment. I know you work from a laptop as well most of the time.
Especially working from home, you're like, half the time you can't get motivated. So I'm like, right, I'll go up to spend the whole day there, just have my coffee, work on the laptop. Yeah. And it's great. And you get so much done.
So much done.
And then people always say, oh, how do you work in a coffee shop?
Not easy.
Like, it's great. Just put the headphones in and you're focusing, sort of thing. It's just like coffee shop ambience. It's great.
It is nice. And the constant, you can get, but the worst thing for me is, when I lived in London, I was going to a different. So that's where Morning Coffee with Tim kind of started, because I would review coffee shops in London. Right. And then I put reels up on Instagram, and then I was like, right, I want to have proper conversations with people. Like the way this podcast is designed is that you go out for a walk, you grab a coffee, and you listen to this. This is a soundtrack to your steps, essentially. And I was going around coffee shops, but I was having like 4 coffees at a time. I was like buzzed. I was going home buzzed from the coffee shop. That's the worst thing about working in a coffee shop. It's like you gotta limit yourself.
That's it. I probably have maybe 2 coffees when I'm in Nature and Co. And I try to think, I'm like, right, I'm drinking too much coffee this week, but I wouldn't drink it at home. It's only when I'm working from a cafe. That's the only time I really drink it.
So you're not a coffee drinker at home?
Not really. I don't know. It just doesn't have the same tea drinker at home more, I'd say.
That's
just
the Irish
doesn't
in
have
you,
the same. I know that says.
I know. I'm to be fair, when you have a coffee out, it tastes so good. It's so hard to replicate it at home because I would drink black coffee sometimes, and people buy I get presents of coffee all the time, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, but I always just end up going out for a coffee because I see coffee as an experience.
The service as well, and the communication side. People serving you. How's your day? How's it going?
100%.
You know,
it is.
So it does make a difference compared to just boil the kettle, stir your coffee, and that's
it. Just doesn't. It just doesn't hit the same. I would love to be able to make. That's why, I would love to do a barista course and all, and know how to make it. But again, I think a big part of it is the experience. I just think making it yourself isn't the same. I think going to a coffee shop, the people that you meet out. I don't know if I've seen you in Nature and Co. or not before. I think we might have. Did we run it? No, it was Marius I ran into. Ran into Marius. At Nature and Co. Chatted away, and I see people in there all the time. And it's just that community buzz. I get so much work done. No, I definitely think working from coffee shops is the way forward.
The way to go, yeah.
And your home's your home is so boring.
Yeah, I know.
And you get so sick of the same 4 walls all the time. But with your business, when did that was that before Wild Irish Wanderer? Did that come about when you started?
I think it was maybe after, during it, you know. Because I was the sort of thing, it's like, what am I doing in my life? Didn't have a clue. Before I said, I was in America for 5 summers on and off. I was doing summer camps, and every year, progressed up to director of it. So spend 6 months here, 6 months in America.
Was that Camp America or something different? Camp America. Yeah.
So working my way up from counselor whole way up. I was trying to get the visa for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it's so difficult to get. It's through a lottery system. Yeah. First year didn't get it, and then second year got it. But the company I was working for, they were a small family-run business. They sold because they wanted to retire. Yeah. They sold to a corporate company and it still had the summer camp and everything, but just wasn't the same. They got rid of like the Camp America aspect of it, so there was no international people apart from me, and it was just a whole different experience. And at the end of it, I was like, "Here, lads, I'm out," sort of thing, you know.
Yeah. So wait, Americans go on Camp America?
Well, they were working there all year round because mine was day camp.
Right.
It wasn't the cabin out in the lake, stuff like that. We had the swimming pool. It was a day camp. It was based in like a school setting.
I get you.
We worked 9 to 6, went home in the evenings, had our weekends off, had their beach condo, the family, they gave it to us, gave us a car.
Yeah.
And it was great, like a bit luxurious compared to other people's stories.
I've heard a few different Camp America stories, and they're like in the middle of a cabin in the woods kind of job.
That's it, and they get no time off, maybe once a week or a couple of hours, something like that there. But and then came back to Ireland, and that's when I sort of, because normally Camp America, you do your season, and you have like a month after to travel around. Yeah. We done that, travel around America, different states, and I had my GoPro and the camera with me. Yeah. Documenting it out there, but just not really doing nothing with the footage, you know? Yeah. And just came home then, I was like, right, what am I going to do now? Yeah. And I don't know, I just had a feeling, I was like, right, I'm just going to start posting sort of thing after the month. It was probably a month or two after I was back, started posting, and then obviously COVID hit then. Yeah. Shortly after that there. So we couldn't really get like a real job sort of thing at that there stage. Yeah. But at the same time, I just had a feeling, it's like, oh, I enjoy doing this here. Kind of mix on of it, but never really pursued it right there and then. I think the social media side was more, okay, I'm going to do social media, not for a living, but just to see where it goes. Yeah. And then, of course, then sort of fell into place. So I think it was maybe in between the 2 lockdowns, maybe. Yeah. I sort of like reaching out to just local businesses. I was like, hey, do you want any video work done? Yeah. Not even getting paid, it was just sort of getting more the experience, building a portfolio, stuff they got there. And that's a good thing with it as well, because you had the social media side as well, that you could cross over like the business side of it. Yeah. Like your rates and portfolio ways. So it sort of builds up that their way just to show that you do have something to show for it and you are good at it sort of thing, you know? I get you. But like a CV, I guess. Yeah, definitely. Thing, you know, just to sort of like a portfolio side of things. Yeah. I forget what we're talking about, the video side. And just sort of, the jobs just sort of came in then. Yeah. Slowly, then I wanted to. And then, because social media sort of tied you over at the same time, you know, it was never like coexisting together. It was more social media for a couple of months for them jobs, and then that would stop, and then you have the videography side for a month or two, and then that would stop. But now it's like coming back together where they're both hand in hand. Yeah. And now I've been busiest I've ever been, sort of thing, you know, which is great. So I'm like, right, it's sort of like a punch me moment where like, okay, it's coming back around full circle. Yeah. It's actually starting to pay off, you know. Yeah. But I went traveling there in February this year. Where were you, Vietnam or? Thailand, Vietnam, and then Malaysia. Yeah. Then back to Thailand. And came back September time. And then just sort of everything just sort of fell into place. Yeah. I think like I always wanted to go traveling, especially with COVID. It's like, okay, Ireland's great. Like I thought I'd seen a lot of Ireland. Yeah. Haven't scratched the surface barely. Yeah. You know, there's so much more out there to do, but it's just like, if I don't go traveling now, I'll probably never get the chance to do it again. So I'm glad I've done the 7 months out there. Yeah. But I tried to bring like Wild Irish Wanderer, like that content, like international, and show like a Thailand side of it. Yeah. Wild Thailand Wanderer doesn't have the same. That's what people are saying, the Wild Thai Wanderer, like a wild Asian Wanderer. Yeah. But just haven't seen the same ring to it. And you have to remember that people followed you for a reason because of the Irish sort of outdoors adventure stuff. That's the niche, you know? I guess, isn't it? Like, and because it was even hiking and adventure stuff, I wasn't doing that when I was away in Asia. Yeah. It was more just beaches and drinking coffee, to be honest. Like, it wasn't the same effect. So I got to a stage, like I was still working with like accommodations and hotels and resorts and stuff. Some of them were paid and some of them were just sort of accommodation with my stay sort of thing, you know, and activities just to sort of stop me spending money, I guess, and like keep the travels going as long as possible. Yeah. But it just got to a stage where it was like, what am I doing sort of thing. It was almost in the age of burnout. It was just like, my work isn't great. I was like, I'm not enjoying shooting this or editing it. Yeah. How's the client going to enjoy it? Yeah. Thankfully they did enjoy it, but I was just like, no, still something there that sort of thing, you know. Yeah. So decided to come home then, and just like it's just like a switch. And I was like, right, you sort of have the buzz again. Yeah. I think it's only in the past month now. I'm like, right, ready to go. Yeah. At it again that their way, and then of course the jobs coming in for the social media side and the business side. So it's like it's great to see that coming back from traveling was the right decision. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, so, definitely. Burnout's real. Like it's once it hits you, you kind of don't realize you're in it, and then like even your creative side of things, you're like, I just couldn't be bothered. I don't like my work. I don't like. You hit that sometimes. You're like, how do I get out of this? But it just takes a change in routine or traveling back here to just kind of, you know, 100%. Light that spark again.
Because for me, I think even like looking like a travel content creator, influencer, or whatever you want to call them, like sort of thing. You look at them online of who you're following for years and years. Yeah. Or YouTube, for example. Try
Lost
YouTube
as well. Yeah. I love his stuff.
Like you look at them, like okay, they're in Asia. Yeah. They're working in these hotels, these resorts, doing all these fun things. They've made it, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But I was doing all that their stuff, and I was like, okay, it's good for a while, but it's not what it's not what I expected. Like it's not. You think that's when you made it. It was like, no, it's not worth your happiness, sort of thing. Yeah, like, you're not worth being depressed over. Just like no.
100%. It's not worth trading your time for something that you just don't feel good doing. Like I've always been about that. Like I just don't. And I get it that, you know, there's a certain element that you need a wage, and sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Yeah. But I think trying to work on a passion and figuring out what you want and what you actually enjoy, like time just comes and goes. Like, and if you just are doing something that you hate, then if you just won't be truly happy. Like you just can't be truly happy. And you've obviously had a time where you can join the videography stuff that you really enjoy with the Wild Irish Wanderer. Yeah. And that's incredible. It was actually my mum that first seen you. I was saying to you before. She was like, "Oh, you know, you should follow this fella." And then I can't remember what video it was. I don't think it was the one sliding down a hill. I know the sliding down a hill one was one of the big viewed ones. I can't remember what it was, but it was like sunrises and stuff do look amazing, and the way you record your content looks class. But I think as we were saying before, Ireland is so beautiful. Yeah, like. I remember when I brought my English mates, I went to uni in England, and I brought them all back here for like, I think it was like 3 or 4 days, and we got really good weather the one day that was good that year probably, and we went the North Coast route, you know, and Carrick-a-Reid Rope Bridge, Ballintoy, the whole way around, and they were like, Tim, why did you ever leave this place? And I was like, well, because it rains 99% of the year. But there's so many hidden gems. Like I'm sure like you were just saying there, you still feel like you haven't seen most of Ireland?
Yeah, like especially Southern Ireland. Like I think, because I keep going back to the same things. Like I said earlier, going back to Ergal 7 times the past month. Like, but it's one of the things I enjoy, and you know you're gonna enjoy the hike, enjoy the view. You're gonna get something. Yeah, you know. But yeah, there's so much in Ireland, and that's one thing I've like started to try and push out a bit more. You don't need to go to Asia to find a great sunset or sunrise 100%. Or a great activity. Like it's on your back doorstep. Of course, like weather-wise is going to affect it, but even if the weather is bad in Ireland, there's still fun stuff to do. It still is incredible, you know? Even just that rugged Wild Atlantic Way, the waves on the coastline, it's still, I think if you're prepared, like clothing-wise for it all, you'll have no problem sort of thing, you know?
It is just amazing. Like I definitely haven't seen, especially Southern Ireland. Yeah. Like I think I was in Galway once, and then Dublin. I was in Dublin a few times. Like I just haven't spent the time to just go down and explore it. That's it. And I know it would be incredible because I was listening to a podcast you done with Matthew McNabb, as I was saying, and you were mentioning all these places. Yeah. And I was like, I've never heard of any of these places. Like the only place I've heard of is the Moors. The Moors is the only place that I do, because that's probably the best known mountain range in the north anyway.
That's great as well. And people like ask you, like DM you and send you messages like, hey, I'm coming from America or England or wherever they're coming from. I'm going to spend 2 weeks in Dublin. What would you recommend? And I always just say, okay, spend 2 days in Dublin, rent a car and go west or go up north to Donegal, Mayo, Sligo, and just see like the real Ireland. Yeah. Instead of just spending around Dublin, because Guinness Storehouse is going to be there. Temple Bar is going to be there all the time.
Still never been to the Guinness Storehouse.
Either have I, to be honest.
I mean, I know it's like one of them places. It's like I've seen enough people go to it and video it that I know what it's going to be like. So I'm like, I know there's a big fish that cycles. I know there's Guinness on the top floor. The view looks amazing. But it's like, it's one of them.
Picture on the pint then.
I know the wee printer. Yeah. It's like one of them places, just like them touristy places. Yeah, I don't know. They're just so like, right. I know.
But even like the Cliffs of Moher, even though it's outdoors and everything, that's all people see when they come to Ireland. Okay, go to Dublin, go to Clismore.
Yeah.
That's it. Whereas what I've noticed now is like we're trying to push more. Oh, why don't you go up to the likes of Rossnella, for example?
Yeah.
Go to Slieve League.
Yeah.
Go to Mount Errigal. Those will be more impressive, I feel.
Yeah.
Rather than coaches and busloads of tourists around the Cliffs of Moher.
Yeah.
Like there is so much more out there that people don't. Not they don't realize. It's just not pushed as much as everything else. Like
yeah, it is. It's like
you know?
The kind of main spots. It's the same everywhere. I guess it's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if you were traveling, like Vietnam, Bali, wherever, you have the places that everyone, like the Monkey Forest and all these here things that you see of, but there's just so much hidden beauty, and I think Ireland is one of them places. But I just wish we had the weather to discover it more. Like
if Ireland had the good weather,
if Ireland was sunny,
no one would leave.
No one would leave. It would be the most incredible place. Yeah. It's just lashing most of the time, like, which is frustrating. But going back to the Camp America stuff and the travel side of things, and like growing up, was that always a big value of yours, like traveling and obviously meeting new, like experiencing new cultures? What was the reason? Because a lot of people just don't have the interest in wanting to travel. Like, what, there had to be something in your brain that was like, I want to do Camp America. I want to, or was it just to get away from?
I don't know. See, I have 3 brothers. You see,
right?
And I've always been the one that sort of been not the odd one out, or like the rebellious one.
Yeah.
So like growing up, I would be out all day, bikes, turn around, I iron the bike with my friends. My brothers be inside. Sort of thing. Yeah. And then going in terms of school, I was the only one that went to the brothers to do my A-levels. Yeah. And then the only one to go to university. Not even go to university, but go to university in England. I went to Liverpool, you see. Yeah.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And then, because my cousin went over there as well.
Yeah.
And because I sort of grew up with my cousin, she's sort of been, I don't want to say bad influence, like a good influence. She's always been one, okay, instead of going to Belfast, come check out Liverpool. So I went over to her for an open day. Yeah. Not went to an open day and turned away and then went to the pub, I would say. But I was like, right, I'm sold, sort of thing, you know? And
it's not hard to sell. To be fair, it's not hard to sell uni in England. I was the same. Like, I went to Leeds and I had never even been over. But I was just like, I just don't want to go to Queens or Jordanstown. Like, I was just like, I just want to get away and just see somewhere else.
I know. That's the thing. Like, even like you grow up with all your friends, you go to school, same class, primary school, secondary school, and then people go to uni, the same people. I know. And it's all the time, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great, but you just sort of like, I want to change, I want something different, you know? So I think going away to Liverpool sort of opened my eyes, and then wouldn't have went to Camp America, I would say, because that's how I found out about over there. And the same, where else did I go? Same, just traveling, I guess. Like, none of my brothers went traveling, stuff like that there. Yeah. None of my brothers like hiking. Yeah. Sort of thing. Like,
you not got them into a hike or?
Not yet, anyway. Like, we've done a few, like, growing up and stuff like that there, but nothing to the extent now, you know? Yeah. I think the only thing that sort of kept us all in line was football. Yeah. We all play football, so that was the main thing, you know? But even still, like, I love playing football, and I'd go back tomorrow if I could, sort of thing. Yeah. But it just got to the stage where it's like, it's getting too strict, and it's just the cracks not there. It's not enjoyable anymore, and the commitment and the time sort of thing, you know? It's just not there anymore. Yeah. Whereas my brothers still play as well, so they're working, football, that sort of life, you know, sort of thing, just local. Whereas I'm like, right, I'm way off to the mountains. Yeah. See you in a couple of days, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's different lifestyles, like I said. Like, I think, and there's no right or wrong in any of it, but you have to, everyone has their different kind of, some people want to travel, some people just don't. Like, some people just are like, why would you want to go to Australia, or why would you want to go here? Yeah. But you just gotta follow what, you know, you want to do. And I think it's the comfort zone thing. Like, I don't know about you in terms of going to England for uni. For me, it was like, I just want to push myself to not be around the same people. Not that I didn't like the people I was around, but it was like, I just want to go, I want to be in a lecture hall and be made to stand up in front of a load of randomers and speak, and I want to not know anyone, and I want to be uncomfortable in that sense.
Just new experiences.
Yeah, because you're like, I always say, success lives outside the comfort zone, that cheesy quote. Yeah. My brain's full of them, but it is just like, so how did you find kind of going to Liverpool? And did you find that there was a massive, like, growth in self-awareness, or like growth in you as a person when you went, or did you find that it kind of not much?
I think there was, you know, like
subconscious kind of growth.
Even before university, like I went to school in Castleberg, but it only went up to GCSE level, so we all had to move to Omagh to do our A-levels with no choice. So it was a mixed school I went to, and then going to an all boys school. Then
Yeah.
that was a big jump. So sort of like my school days were great. Sort of
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
have
yeah.
no complaints with them.
Yeah.
Got on well, done well, like academically.
Yeah.
And all that there.
Uh-huh.
But I think like personality wise, from 5th year, jumping from a mixed school, you're all your friends that you're used to an all boys school. Your friends, like some of your friends are still there, but being thrown into a farm group. I remember like the first day, like all my friends were on the same farm group.
Yeah.
This sort of thing, you know, so they had each other, whereas I was the only one by myself, and I go into like a random classroom with 30 other lads, new teachers and everything. It is daunting sort of thing, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
And it did take me a while to sort of get used to it and come out of my comfort zone a bit more, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that there sort of didn't sort of push me back into my shell a bit. It just took a while to come out again.
Yeah.
And then obviously the football and all that there sort of helped, you know, because you know the boys play through football, they'd be in your class as well, so it helps, definitely. You know.
Yeah.
But I think Liverpool, I don't know, it was so different. Like, though it's a big change.
Yeah.
You had no choice. You had to make friends because you knew nobody.
Yeah.
And it's massive lecture halls, and you're in halls as well.
Yeah.
With random people, so you have no choice to just push yourself. And I think that's a good thing. Like Freshers Week, for example, like you're just going out, you're spending time with all these your friends, and it's most of the time it's the friends you make in that first week of freshers. It's the friends you're living with second and third year.
100%.
You know, sort of thing. What did happen, you know, and like it did. There was the Irish community over there that people you did know of.
Liverpool's like 50% Irish, isn't it? There's like full of them.
That's it. But I was still in the mindset. I was like, right, I would sort of want to not get away from the Irish, but like sort of want to make friends with other people as well. So definitely. I lived with 2 English lads for second and third year.
Yeah.
My halls, my first year was all English people, you know.
Yeah.
But I did have a good mix where it was like, okay, live with English people, but I still have football training in the evening time.
Yeah.
And see the lads, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then then you'd always bring us together, like, here's my friends here.
Yeah.
Meet these other friends. It's sort of like, okay, how's everyone gonna
react
to each other, you know, or how do you even react, or like, you just don't get the banter and the crack. You know?
The switching the friend groups is fascinating. Like, cause I had the exact same. Like, I went to uni in England, and a lot of my best mates now would be all my uni mates, all English, like different, brought up in completely different ways, and it's great in that sense. But when you bring, like, when they come over here, they met my mates from here. You're always like, ooh, like, how's this all going to come together? Because it's so different. I think being brought up here, it's just there's so many different nuances and different ways, and even stupid things like religions and stuff that they just don't. They just don't see it. They just don't see it. Like, so but it's nice. It's nice having. I think that's one of the big benefits. I don't know if you agree, but the big benefits of going to uni in England is you just kind of broaden your horizons a little bit.
Definitely, I think like even here, like a lot of people, like even today, still in Tyrone, for example, even at Castleberg, like people are small minded.
Oh, tell me about it.
Probably it might just be an Irish thing, you know, like people are just small minded. If you step out of that and go against the grain, like people are going to talk and they go, look at your man over there, what's he doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think like the travelling, just getting away from all that there, it does open your mind.
100%.
And like if I was to do this here now without going away and having those experiences, probably wouldn't be doing that. I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. The fear of what people are going to say about me, or the fear of embarrassment, you know? That's
a big thing here. Like, fear of what other people will think. Like that's really it's probably, you know, we're saying this is an Irish thing, but it happens everywhere, obviously. But that comparison and being like, oh, they told me to do this. Like I was speaking to Brad, who we had on as well, and we were saying we're all, you know, Tyrone lads, and it's like it's been strongly mentioned that like, oh, I was scared of what they would say, or I didn't do this because of this, or what they would say, and it's like you can't imagine how many people have held back from actually doing what they want to do because of what someone said, or like, oh, you can't do that, or, you know, who do you think you are doing that? Like,
but at the end of the day, like, no one cares.
No one,
say, look at you for like 5-10 seconds, and say something.
We get in our own head about it, like
they have their own stuff going on, like, to worry about, you know. So I think, like you said, just get in your own head. Like, 100%. Can't stop you living the life that you deserve, rather than settling for just the standards.
Yeah, and exactly.
You always think, then what if?
I know.
You know.
I know. No, definitely, and I think traveling, like moving on to traveling, like how is traveling something that you obviously had the Camp America experience and going across there, which I wish I would have done more of. When I was, you know, hindsight's 2020, but I wish I would have traveled more. But I want to do Bali. I want to do I want to solo travel.
It's
one thing. it's a big thing that I've never done, and it's something I'm like, right, I have to do this. So I plan to go to Bali in February, March this year or next year. But how do you find travel? You obviously done. You were saying Vietnam. Was that all solo? The last.
That was all solo. Yeah.
All solo.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you'd solo traveled, or Camp America
Camp
solo?
America,
I guess,
you're going out by yourself.
You're not really. You're going to more of a. You know what's
whereas
happening.
This is like, at least Camp America, you've things set in place.
Yeah, you kind of have a schedule.
You have something to go to.
Yeah.
Whereas Asia was just sort of, okay, you're on your own. Good luck, here you are. But yeah, most of the time it was solo. Like, people to travel and meet up with and stuff like that there.
Yeah.
And you meet people along the way in hostels and everything.
Yeah.
And your paths will cross from time to time. But most of the time you're like, okay, where am I going to next? And I was like a last minute sort of thing. I was like, because schedule, like, oh, I can go to Bangkok tomorrow and then get a bus down to Phuket the day after if I want to, or I can stay an extra day in Bangkok if I want, just depending how I feel,
Yeah.
Like, there's no rush that day away, but you still have to plan ahead it,
The freedom's so good, but
that's
like
it.
the freedom to do that's something that I think that's just like incredible, being able to do your own thing and solo travel. I think facilitates that massively. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, most of the time I would say a lot of the time you are soloing, like you are solo.
Yeah.
And like there are days it is lonely, not gonna lie. Like there is that their side that's, I know I'm guilty of myself, like it didn't show that side of it.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't feel like posting.
Yeah, you're not
having a
gonna.
crap
Yeah,
day,
I get you.
That their sort of way, but it is out there. It's not just all fun and parties and all this here, which is that side of it as well. But people, it is a big eye opener when people experience that there for the first time. Like, oh, this isn't what I sort of expected.
Yeah.
But even when I went out to Bangkok for the first time, flew out, I was in hospital then for 10 days.
I remember following your journey
COVID
on it.
sort of thing. So that was a big hiccup at the start of my journey.
That was COVID that you got straight away when you got out there?
Yeah. Because I had to get a test before I left. And I got an OMA. Test came back negative.
Yeah.
That was all grand. So I must have got on the plane. It was literally the day before, and I flew out the next day with a negative test, and then landed, and all of a sudden it was positive. And then 10 days, and as I remember saying to my stories and everything, is like, I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because I was in a hotel room, and I'm supposed to have a day 1 test and day 5 test.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't get the day 5 test.
Yeah.
But whenever I got the results back, the nurse didn't speak English. They had to tell me over Google Translate, and they basically just left me to my own to sort out where I'm going next.
Yeah.
I was like, can I just stay here for 10 days? Like, no, you have to get out. But thankfully, I rang my insurance company.
Yeah.
But at the time, my results came back at 5:30 in the morning, which would be nighttime here, But thankfully, they had a rep in Bangkok, and I was like, here, I need your help big time. Can you just help me out?
Yeah,
so I don't know what to do. And thankfully, they sorted it out, and they got the hospital booked and everything.
Yeah.
But I had no symptoms. I felt fine. There's nothing. And
that's so frustrating too. Where you're just I just want to get out. Did you ever feel sick at that time, or just no symptoms at all that whole 10 days?
But I just remember they had the sirens coming down, the ambulance. I just heard them from outside the hotel. I was like, oh, this is for me. Over nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand. I was like, I'm a dying bed.
Yeah,
so I
if
think
you
I
were
can stretch
feeling,
it out.
yeah.
But the ambulance came, and 3 or 4 guys in full body suits. Do you ever see Monsters Inc? Whenever they do lockdown in the yellow suits, that's what it felt like.
Jeez.
And then threw me in the hospital room for 10 days. I did lose my smell for half a day. But I didn't tell the doctor because it was day 8. And he's already telling me I'm getting out. I was like, okay, I'm not going to mess this up.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the time, I was like, oh, this is a scam. Because you hear the stories
about
it, So I did order the lateral flow. I guess their version of Uber or Deliveroo.
Yeah.
They just go to the store and bring it to you. And I didn't tell the doctors nothing, just got it delivered. And it's like, right, if this is negative, I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
But it did come back positive. It's like, okay, maybe I do have COVID.
Yeah.
But the whole plan for Bangkok is going to be there for 5 or 6 days. Everything planned out. Obviously, just had to cancel everything. Accommodation, activities. And obviously, when you're
so frustrating
working as well with the hotels and accommodation in Bangkok, you're sort of here, I can't do that no more. Can we reschedule,
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do. They were fine about it, but you're just oh, great.
Out of your control completely.
That's it.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. I'm sure you were buzzed and ready to get going as soon as you landed. And then they're ambulances and hazmat suits.
Yeah, but it was funny because I was just making TikToks in my hotel room or my hospital room then. And by the end of it, know if you're at this location, I guess, or I don't know what way the algorithm works, but you see like your TikToks, like now you probably see people in Oma, for example.
Yeah.
The nurses in my hospital see my TikToks of me in the hotel or the hospital room, and they came in and they wanted a picture and everything. We're like, you on TikTok? You on TikTok? I was like, oh god, this is embarrassing. Mad. Like, I was just like, I just want to pay my bill, please, and go, you know.
That's
madness. But as soon as I got there, I was like, here, get me out of Bangkok. Like, that was my experience of Bangkok. Thankfully, I went back at the end of my trip and it was much better.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was like, this is the worst thing in the world. I was even like ringing home. I was like, I want to come home. I didn't even start me traveling. I was like, I want to go home because
it's totally normal to feel homesick, but having that happen to you, it's like gonna 10x the feeling. Like.
Even here, you're just like, if you have COVID, okay, you're in your home. Yeah, you have your family and friends around you. Sort of thing.
Being in hospital anytime is miserable. Being in hospital here is miserable anyway. Like, but just being in the far end of the world, no one's near you. Nah, that must have been horrible.
It was.
But then the trip, I'm guessing on a whole was great.
Oh, incredible.
Was it?
So happy I done it. Like, you know.
What was your favorite? What was your kind of highlights? I know you done 7 months.
7 months, yeah.
That's a long. See, I want to go for 2 months. I think that's a long time.
So I was in the mindset, I was like, I'm doing like slow travel.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I'll travel for a couple of days, do activities, and then go to like a coffee shop.
Yeah. And you were working along the whole time as well, obviously, yeah.
So, because I was editing for a guy who's back in Manchester as well for his YouTube stuff that there's at that time as well.
Yeah.
So still keeping communication with him, and that kept me going, you know. And my own social media side of it sort of took a back seat, even though still posting. Like, there's no real deals coming out on that there.
I remember the hospital content. I remember the hospital content. It was good.
But I've sort of slowed down that there way. I was just more posting for the sake of it, thinking, okay, this is going to take off or something's going to be good. But you know yourself, like, if it's not what your audience came for from the start.
Yeah.
Like, I went out there with the same amount of followers, came back with the same amount of followers. Like, there's no growth or nothing to get there.
Yeah.
But it's still good to have, like, the memories on my grid and everything. And people did find, like, if they're going traveling to Asia, like, I do get them questions as well. Okay, what would you recommend, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing was incredible. Like, definitely eye-opening at times. Like, the whole solo travel, and you do get lonely. Like, that's one thing, because I was going from
I can imagine.
hostels to these amazing resorts in the pool. You see, like, the breakfasts in the pool, like the floating breakfast and all that there crack. And then you do the content, and then you're just sitting there like, well, this is great, but like, it'd be alright if you had other people around you.
Yeah.
And most of the time, these resorts, because it was still COVID time and like things were still not fully open.
Yeah.
It was more like couples and families. You're like,
I
don't really want to disturb them, like, you know, and ruin their holiday. So that I found myself like going from hotels and resorts back into the hostels. Yeah. Like, I'd rather just pay for the hostels.
What she preferred the hostel?
Preferred the hostels, because just that communication and
it's
meeting
people, man.
You know?
It is. It all comes back to people. Like, it definitely does. Because, like, especially you're in the far side of the world. Anytime I've traveled, whether it's Europe, whether it's a holiday, a short holiday, a long holiday, you always remember the people. You don't really you don't really remember that. They always say, "Oh, you have to go here, you have to go here," and it's amazing to experience it. But you'll always remember. Anytime I look back, as you say, documenting the process in anything. I think that's one of the big positives of, you know, social media or what we kind of do, putting content out. You know, loads of people put content out now, but it's not even so much for other people. Obviously, it is, especially when it comes to business and kind of marketing yourself. But for you to look back at it, it's kind of like a diary.
Oh yeah,
which is so cool, and that's why I think, you know, I'm kind of jealous of, you know, these old school YouTube vloggers that like vlogged, the original like daily vloggers that have all that like things to look back on, which must be so cool.
Just the raw footage, like no editing, no polished stuff like that there. Like, it is great.
It is, and I think that's a big benefit of just constantly documenting. Sometimes you don't feel, I'm sure sometimes you don't feel like putting videos up, like, and you can be bothered, but it's like, it's just nice to have.
That's it. A good keepsake.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Remember that time I went to Thailand. Like,
exactly.
You know?
And you remember the hospital content.
Yeah, that's it. But even go back to the hostels, like meeting people. And when I'm looking for a hostel, I was like, look for the dorms with the highest amount. Like, I was saying dorms with 33 people. I think I was the most one.
I was in a 12 dorm hostel in Portugal, and I was like, this is a lot.
But the 33 one was the best crack. Like, there's people all over, like, Europe, French, Spanish, English, everything.
That's class.
And I remember I was in Malaysia, and there's just like a tiny island, like very laid back, very chill, beachy side town. Like it was great, you know.
Yeah.
You just go out in the daytime, the scooter, go to the waterfalls, the mountains, and then go for dinner and then go out. And I think I was only supposed to be there for maybe 3 days, but because I was meeting the people in the hostels who were staying longer, like, oh, I'm going to book an extra couple of days just because the crack was that good, you know, sort of thing, you know. So just stuff like that there, and like it's the people you chat to now, and they're checking in with you now, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now that your traveling's ended.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, remember that time you're in Malaysia jumping off cliff and waterfall, sort of thing, you know.
That's what it's about. That's the joy of hostels as well, I think. And it's why I want to do the solo, because I had a little glimpse of it. Went to Portugal for literally really short time, but I'd never done hostels before, like properly. So I went to a co-working hostel in Portugal, a Salina. It's like a group of hostels. They have some incredible ones all over the world. But just sitting around the pool, like an Israeli girl, a guy from London, and another 2 girls from America, and just like different stories. They were amazed at what I was doing and my accent, and then I was amazed at what they were saying and what their upbringing, and it all comes back to people. Like it really does. And I think that's the big joy of traveling. But what would you say was your favorite? Like not even just this trip, but what would you say is your favorite traveling experience?
I'd say one that stands out is probably America.
Yeah.
Because even before Camp America, I went out a couple of summers with family out there in San Francisco. So we'd always go out in the summertime. And just like that first experience of first time you're going to Lake Tahoe, first time you're going to Yosemite, for example.
Yeah.
I'll always remember Yosemite because it's like fits in well with the hiking and outdoors.
Yeah.
And you think the mountains in Ireland are massive, and you go there and like, what is going on? Like, sort of thing, you know? They're just huge, and it just sticks in your mind. Like, oh, I wish I had stayed longer there. Yeah. It's one place I'd love to go back to, you know? I think just the first of everything. Because even though Thailand was great, I went back to Thailand at the end of my trip. And it was great coming back, like, oh, I'm buzzing being back.
Yeah.
But that sort of wore off after the first couple of days. I was there for maybe 4 weeks, and I was like, oh, I've seen this before. It just feels comfortable now, sort of thing. It's not the same buzz.
Yeah, I get you.
I guess just the first of everything, you know, but nothing, I don't know what really stands out.
You'd always love to go back to that first, like, what was it I was thinking about? I always do this in podcasts where I think, and then I'm like, I can't think of what it is. But it's like your first, you wish you could relive something for the first time. Like,
that's it.
Because it just but you just can't. It never hits quite the same the second or third time. Yeah. But back to Ireland, back to what you, Wild Irish Wanderer, what you're all about. What my mum first showed me when I was like, she was like, here's this guy and he hikes Ireland. He puts up these cool sunrises, sunsets. What would you say, in terms of Ireland, what would you say is your favourite peak, favourite mountain? Or it probably is a bit, you probably have a favourite experience or a favourite sunset, which makes it a wee bit biased towards that mountain. But what would you say is your favourite?
I would say Errigal, but I've been saying Errigal a long time now, so I need to like push Errigal to the side a little bit.
Yeah. Give me more of a random one.
I would say, I think I've 2. We done, like me and Marius have been in this a long time. Like he'd be like, we started at the same time, like even the social media part of it, and grew up together, or not grew up together, but like grew our online platforms together, sort of thing.
That's why I think. That's why I think. Like I've known Marius through playing football and stuff locally, but then it was always like anytime I seen something of yours, it'd be like he'd be next. And even now, you're like sliding down a hill, and then he's building a van, and then it's like just what like the content seems to all like flow together.
So like even in the early days, like it's like, oh, you round today, where do you want to go? And we just get in the car and drive, sort of thing. But the one stands out to me is we done Wilray down in Mayo.
Never even heard of it. That's what I mean. Like
it's the highest mountain in. I'm going to test my knowledge here. What province is Mayo in? I can't remember.
Geography is not
whichever one it's in. It's the highest one down. It's one of the highest peaks in Ireland. Let's say one of the big 4. So we done it, and we got up to the top, and clear day. You can see all around you. You can see around to Connemara, Galway, Crowpatrick, out in the water, Little Islands, everything. Yeah. And because
one of the 3 clear days. One of the 3 clear days in Ireland.
And because it was such a long hike, I would say 6-hour round trip, 7-hour, I'd say. Yeah. And even just taking it all in, getting up there, struggle to get up there. Yeah. It does make it worth it when you're there. And I just remember like looked at Mars like, you're basically on top of the world. Like no one else is around, you know, like stuff like that there, you know? Yeah. And then Dermot and Granya's cave down in Sligo. Highest cave in Ireland, I believe.
Dermot and Granya's cave?
Yeah.
How is that? Do you know how that got its name?
I don't know.
Like, it's just Dermot
apparently
and Grania
it's where
lived
Dermot
on
and Grania had out.
Right.
Back in the day.
Oh, yeah, it's Dermot and Grania. Do we know who these people are?
Is
there like a story behind it?
Story, I can't remember.
Because it sounds like because normally you have like obviously Finn McCool and all the Giants calls. Like Dermot and Grania sounds like my neighbours. Like,
yeah,
you know, it sounds like a modern.
I want to say they're like the Irish Romeo and Juliet sort of thing.
Right, okay. This was their
and
cave where they snuck away to.
By a wild boar or something like that.
Oh, gee. Or Dermot.
Anyway.
Damn.
But it's down in Sligo, and if you've been to, Glenaffe Horseshoe, did you ever see that there drive?
Yeah.
It's in there, so once you're driving around there, you can see this big, massive cave face up on the Glenaffe Horseshoe.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been up there a couple of times, but the first time we've done that there, it's like, wow, you're basically looking down and everything. And if you get a clear day as well. And there's caves you can go into as well. Probably weren't the best prepared, but we're like, we'll just go for the crack.
Yeah.
Survived, thank God. Touch wood.
Yeah, still continues. Here. Still to tell the story.
But just stuff like that there, it's just like the adventures you would never generally do.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that Mars is there. Go like, oh, what's not mischief we're going to get up to, but what events we're going on today?
Yeah.
It's something different. And even the day we're coming down from America, I'm like, it's great to have each other to experience the sort of thing. Just get the buzz off it,
Yeah.
Compared to if I done myself, like, oh, it was great, but
yeah.
It's just yourself.
Again, like you're talking about all these incredible mountains and caves, and you bring it straight back to like Marius and mates and who you're with, and that's what it is. It's like the whole going alone and achieving incredible things is one thing, but bringing people with you and having people around you that are similar minded is incredible. Like even I was in the Lake District a couple of weeks ago, had never been before, near Scaffold Pike and all the rest, and like. I was just walking with my mates, and it was incredible. But doing it on my own, I would just be like, well, this is just like, this is just like a load of hills and mountains. But doing it with people, it's just like, you just see it in a different way. Like.
I know, it really is. And it's cheesy as it sounds. It's sort of like even surrounding yourself with that sort of group of people.
Like-minded, positive people, 100%.
That you can thrive in. And you're not embarrassed or scared to just whip your phone out and take the content rather than... Okay, you're going with people. It might be your normal friends, but you don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
Like if you take your friends you grew up with, or if I took them on the hike, they'd be like, "Oh, come on, Kev.
Yeah,
time's ticking. Like we don't have all day for you to shoot a video sort of thing, Whereas I want to say like with content friends or like adventure people, I guess we know we're there for the crack, we're there for a good time, but they don't mind waiting around.
100%
sort of thing,
That's funny. That's funny that you said that because my mates all my English mates, none of them really put anything on Instagram other than family photos and all the rest. But I put up reels and I was videoing, and they were like, not that it ever annoys me, like they just know me as the guy. Oh, Tim's gonna video this, or Tim will make a reel of this. And then one of them shared it with like a motivational quote. Like I put something like, "Oh, it's about like life's not about where you go, it's about who you go with," or something like, and they're like, "Oh, Tim's coming with the cheesy lines," but it is funny. I'm just like that with the motivational quotes.
You gotta get them sometimes, man,
you do.
It's like them audios you see in TikTok, and then the motivational quotes.
I know. Rocky running upstairs.
But
definitely
it does, like you said, just come back to the people, sort of thing, and even just to memory sake for like that there sort of friendships that you have. You're like, just looking back, like there's a trend coming up now. We're talking about the day, we're like, that there, the 2022 season's come to an end. I was like, I'm holding out to like the 31st of December to get everything fitted in,
get more around thing,
And I was like, even to have all those memories to go back on from January the whole way to the years, so going to be struggle to cut it down.
It's the effort of making them videos is that you see these trends and you're like, oh, that looks sick. And then you go to make it, and you go through your camera roll, and half's uploaded to iCloud, and then it doesn't download the proper file, and you're like, oh, this is too much. I'll just watch other people's. But I wanted to chat to you about morning hike, community hikes. Like, do you? Because I've seen in your story, I would see randomly you just put up, anyone fancy hiking here today. Is that something that you're going now that you're home? I don't know what the plan is in terms of being home for how long or how long you're going to be here, but is that something that you're going to keep up or?
I don't know. I think
it's hard to coordinate.
I think group hikes I've done maybe 6 over the past couple of years. I've done one since I've been back,
Yeah.
And generally there's probably like 12, 13 people. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a good handful of people to have. So
Yeah.
everyone just travel and do hikes together. And no one's really, you don't want to leave anyone behind. Everyone's at their same pace. But I don't think, like, they're good to do, but I don't think it's something I'd want to do all the time.
Yeah.
You know? I just can't see
you
myself.
could end up hating
doing it,
you could end up hating hiking
yeah,
altogether.
It's the responsibility of it as
Yeah.
well, and the organisation of it all. And
Yeah.
like, if you say, okay, sunrise hike tomorrow, and there's no sunrise.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that last one I done in Wicklow was like sunset hike.
Yeah.
Near the Guinness Lake, and I remember driving down. It was blue skies, and the sun's shining. I was like, "This is gonna be great."
Yeah.
And everyone was buzzing, had the WhatsApp group going. I was like, "Hey guys, just traveling down here now through Sean Castle.
Yeah.
I'll be there in an hour. It's gonna be great. Looking forward to it. To meeting you all and stuff to get there." Gone into Wicklow, the biggest, greyest clouds I've ever seen came in, and it was that low. You're driving down the road, you could see the Guinness Lake below you, but up above you were like, no, nothing's there. So I was like, here guys, I don't blame you if anyone wants to pull out right now, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a big cloud here, and we might not get a view.
Yeah.
But thankfully everyone showed up, and like again, it comes back to the people. They're just like, you had the crack.
Yeah. And
just that experience. Okay, you might be hiking and not got a view, but it's good. I like the aspect of bringing people together, because it's the sort of people, okay, I want to go hiking, but my friends don't want to go, but I don't want to go by myself.
Yeah. You're giving them the opportunity to meet more like-minded people, and definitely.
It. And then even after the hikes, like, you do see them, like, they tag me in the stuff where they would meet up weeks and weeks after and do their own hikes together.
Class.
Which is good to see, you know.
Class.
So it's that their whole aspect of as well, and bring people together that they mightn't have necessarily gotten without it, you know.
Yeah.
But in terms of keeping it all the time, it's just maybe here and there, but not full time, I don't think, you know.
No, that's unreal. I totally agree. Like, when I took my clients on the hike, like 3 or 4 of them have kept it up.
Yeah.
Like, they're hiking regularly now. Like, some of them are best mates and do it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's that, again, comes back to people all the time, like, and who you kind of do these things with. But
I took my gym up. Not my gym, but the gym I go to, my cousin's gym. I have a gym on the side.
You didn't mention it, Joe, did you?
But my cousin's gym, there's probably...
I see you training. I see you training hard at the minute.
So they're like, "Oh, do you want to do a group hike someday?"
I
was like, "Yeah, no bother." Same sort of thing. Like, these people having hikes.
Yeah.
They just go to the gym and that's it, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And the buzz they got off was a sunrise in Errigal. It's the best one. Love Errigal.
Yeah.
But like, they couldn't get over, like, this is amazing, even though it's an early start.
Yeah.
Everyone's cold, but the time you get to the top of the mountain, you conquer it. You're like, the buzz you get off it, and they're like, "Oh, they really, really enjoyed it," and they do. A couple of them go by themselves now.
Yeah.
They're asking me when's the next one, you know.
Class. Class. We got to have a Wild Irish Wanderer, honest online coaching, hike, morning coffee with him, hike, coffee.
Podcast on top of Eric.
Oh, well, I don't know how the audio quality would go up there, but definitely. I definitely need to get into it more, and seeing your content and seeing you going up sunrise, I'm like, right, I got to do it. So we got to get one in the diary.
It is therapeutic. It's just like, okay, I'm going hiking now.
Yeah.
And that's me done for the, like, people that don't go for your walk, for example, or go to the gym. I'm like, okay, go for a hike.
I see, for me, the walk, like, at the minute, every morning, fit in the forest, walk in the shop, or like coffee in the shop, walk the forest. And if I don't do that, I'm lost.
Yeah. See, if I went walking, I couldn't walk where I'm from, because it's all hills. Like, on top of the hill, so I'm going uphill or I'm going downhill, but I'm going to have to come back up the hill. I'm like, nah. I'd rather drive 45 minutes to an hour down the road
and actually get a proper hill to climb. Yeah.
Rather than just walk locally, you know.
I get you. Yeah,
it's just not the same buzz.
Yeah,
I guess.
No, definitely. No, I get you completely. What's the plans, Wild Irish Wanderer? What's the goals? Or are you just kind of taking it? Things are busy.
Throw myself down to every opportunity, I guess, you know.
Opportunities, man.
Quite busy, like, on both sides, like, social media and off it, you know.
Yeah.
For the next 4 or 5 months, I guess, you know. But it's great to see. Never had it, so touch wood, it does continue.
Long may it last.
But yeah, like, the ideal world where the social media, I'd love for that just to be like the full time.
You'd love that to be the full time thing. Yeah.
But you know yourself, like, it could be gone tomorrow, sort of thing, you know. But yeah, just pushing every day and trying to make the best content possible and trying to stand out. And I'm getting to the stage where I'm like trying to provide more informational rather than just as well as the view of waking up at sunrise in a lodge. I guess, you know?
I seen that. I had to reply to that. I even showed my mum. I was like, "Look at this place above the clouds. That was incredible."
Yeah. It's only half an hour away.
Is it? Where
45 minutes? Other side of Cookstown, I'd say. Maybe like 45 minutes.
Gonna have to get a wee.
It's booked out to March.
Is it?
You're saying,
Well, I'll book it for March.
Yeah.
Well, but I could be in Bali at that stage, but it looked incredible.
Oh,
it looked
crazy,
mad.
like. But that's the thing. Like, even I love being able to use your platform to work with like local businesses around.
Yeah.
And then see their business grow from it, or
that's impact. Like that's
yeah, exactly. Like that's TikTok or like the reels that put up that last day. It's doing quite well.
That made me want to stay there.
Yeah, and like the
100%.
feedback and the saves, like you can see the analytics of how well it is doing, and TikTok as well. You can still it's still growing and growing. TikTok, when something grows, it can take off.
Oh, it's
even
so
more
randomly,
at their sort of way. So it's good to see that you are providing a service as well as helping these people out.
It's not just putting out content for the sake of it. It's like this is actually having a massive impact.
And I mean, like me and my friend Kiva, we went and stayed there, and she will say, as I do you want to come in the accommodation and say, this is the accommodation we're staying in, so pay, hot tub, nice fire, you have your winter decorations, Christmassy vibes, all that there.
I seen the Christmas tree and all, I was like, that's sick.
She was like, oh yeah, buzzing. I'll bring my laptop with me so I can work the next day from there in the morning time.
Yeah.
Her expecting like this really chilled out, relaxed sort of thing.
Yeah.
Got there at 2, sorry. And I was like, right, content. Let's get it started, get it smacked out of the way. And we're shooting all day, like I would say. I got there. Which is good, sort of thing, you know. But it's good. I think that's one thing I learned from Thailand. It's like, okay, it's good to shoot, but it's also okay to just enjoy it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times when I was going to a hotel or resort where I'd be shooting, and I'd be there for 4 or 5 days, but you just can't switch off and relax and enjoy, because on the back of your mind that you still have to edit this stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people just see on Instagram or social media that's the finished product of that 30-second reel or 10-second reel, but they don't see the hour of planning, the 2 hours shooting it, the hour of editing that goes into it after.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of work behind the scenes, you know?
Yeah.
So I think now I'm just like, what will be like, I think I'm in a stage there where I'm like, the pre-planning, I know exactly what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Get it done, get it edited. It's a lot more efficient, I guess, now, whereas Thailand, because you don't really have a schedule.
Yeah.
And you're on your own free will, you're a bit more over the place, and you're sort of letting yourself down or shooting yourself in the foot in the long run, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Do you find that now that you're back, or like whenever you do travel, I found this whenever I came back from England or anytime I travel, I always appreciate home more.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you're away and you actually realize, you know what, this is actually a great place.
Yeah.
But I think when you grow up in it, we're kind of conditioned to like, oh, I can't wait to get away, and I hate this, which is what I was probably like before I went to England. I'm sure you were probably the same, where you're like, oh, I can't wait to get away.
Yeah.
And then you kind of come back and you're like, you know what, fields and cows and sheep, actually
they're class,
pretty nice. It's pretty sound, because then you go to a city, like I lived in London for a year, and I was like, don't get me wrong, I love the city buzz, but I think coming back, I'm just like, not that I don't see myself settling here, like I see myself settling in the city probably longer term, but I think just being back, I'm like, I was so lucky to grow up here.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely.
Because and I'm sure you appreciate it too whenever you're out hiking and down at Deirdre and Denise's cave or whatever you call it. Like, there's just some amazing places to see. Like.
Oh, 100%. And like, I think Asia especially, because some parts were like well built and like you have the bigger cities, but it did, once you go out of the cities and the smaller towns and the lesser known places especially, like there's a lot of places that aren't, people mightn't even have houses, for example, or it's an eye opener that they're away. So you do come home then like, wow, I am really grateful to have a house over my head, to have foods every day, to even have hot shower, stuff like that there, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas there's people out there who are less fortunate than you.
Definitely.
So it does just an eye-opening perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Which I don't think I would have been able to get if I didn't get away out of Ireland that there sort of way, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, definitely even come back from Ireland, because I told no one I was come back. I just flew back. Yeah. And surprised everyone, you know? I think I told 2 friends maybe and got picked up from the airport and dropped up here.
I remember you saying to me whenever I was like, oh, I'd love to get you in the podcast, because you were actually a requested guest. So I was like, because on my anonymous questions, this was probably the only useful question. There's so many random questions, like what socks do you wear and all this random stuff. But someone was like, when are you and Wild Irish Wanderer getting the podcast sorted? So that's why I was like, and then I messaged you, you were like, oh, well, I'm actually coming home. It was a surprise thing. So I was like,
that's right. But even doing that there is like, oh, this is class. Like seeing everyone's reaction to you coming back was great.
Yeah.
And then just going to your cousin's house, your own house, seeing your friends go to Nature Co, like just the place you used to go to before, you just appreciate so much. We're like, oh, this is class.
Yeah.
Like, there's no better feeling than it.
Yeah.
But whenever I came back, it did take me a while to get sort of not settled again, but like get into the swing of things. It's like, oh, what do I do now? You just don't know yourself. So it probably did take like a couple of weeks to sort of get the ball rolling again, get yourself established again.
Yeah.
But now I love being back.
Any more plans to travel in the near future?
Maybe smaller trips. But when I came back, I went to Greece for a week.
Nice.
So I was back for
it's
2
a
weeks.
bug, like traveling's a bug. Like.
So it's even smaller trips I got there.
Yeah. Where in Greece?
Helkidiki. It was a lesser known place, like, so it was.
Santorini or nothing. That's about all I know. Like.
That was through social media, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter. But
like a hotel, like you were working with a hotel or something.
Tourism board.
Oh, nice.
So it was great.
That's cool opportunities. Like.
Yeah, that's it.
That's very cool.
Social media, it's mad. Like,
I know it is.
Really is.
The opportunities, like, and to think that 20 years ago this didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have been sitting here doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, old school radio shows and stuff, but social media, I think, it gets a bad rap, and there's a lot of, toxic stuff on there. And but I think if you're putting out good content and there's a lot of positivity on there, and as you said, the opportunity is endless. And even just that's why the podcast for me, it's like meeting new people, new perspectives, like just chatting to like-minded people, but everyone has a different story to tell, and I think that's the joy of social media. Like.
Definitely. I know, and like it's still, I think it's definitely a generational thing. Like it's still so fresh and new.
Yeah. I know we feel like we've had it. We kind of feel like we've had it all our lives, but it's so early stages. Like at the same time.
Like for me, I even think like before COVID, I'm like, did mountains exist in Ireland? Like all these here places just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That you see on TikTok or Instagram, for example.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now, like, it's just been there. You just didn't really, because it wasn't documented. Like people weren't worried about, okay, getting this video. They're just in the moments. Yeah. Taking in the view. Which is one thing I've been trying to do a bit more. Like today, like I brought my drone and everything up the mountain, didn't take it out. I was like, I'm just going to enjoy this with the crack, have the crack,
Yeah. Need to do that from time to time as well.
So, and because of the snow as well, I was like, right, I'm going to throw snowballs, jump down, try and slide and stuff like that there,
Class.
Just have the crack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think it's a generational thing. I think there are still some people, especially older generation, looking at us. Like I've had it definitely in my family as well, where they're like, when you get in a real job.
If you're not picking up turf, you're not. You're not. Yeah.
I think especially for me as well, because going traveling all the time, coming back to Ireland, didn't have like a steady 9-to-5 job or whatever. It was always the same question. Oh, we can get you a job down here. We do this here, sort of thing.
It's like a question. Like I've never had a 9-to-5, like a proper 9-to-5. But I think you're right. It's a generational thing. Because the whole time my granny would be like, and how's your thing going? Like how's your work going? You're busy enough? Like as if surprised that I'm busy. Like this is actually a thing. Like it is a generational thing, and it's definitely not their fault. Like it's just not the way. They just weren't exposed or brought up with it, so you just don't know it. Like
it's just online. You make money.
It's crazy
from it. Like it's crazy. I'll never forget because I had my friend's wedding. Not maybe a month after I came back. Another way you go to like the week leading up to the wedding, it's sort of drinks and see them presents all at their crack. Yeah. We went to their house on the way, and his mother was there. Yeah. And I walked in and I hadn't seen them yet, since being back. And they were like, "Well, Kevin, how's it going? Are you actually going to do some work time this time that you're back now?" And I was like,
Classic.
It's better that like as a guy,
you're
I
a spoofer like today. Like you're like, oh, here's the spoofer, just travels the whole time.
That's it. And because they're like my friends now, they're getting married, having weans. Yeah. And I'm deciding what coffee shop to drink in tomorrow, sort of thing.
My choice every day. Like,
but I find stuff like that there. It's just like for me anyway. I'm just like, there's no point explaining to it because there's gonna be so many questions. You can't explain it in a way that seems not acceptable, but to be seen as a real job. Yeah. In society compared to, I don't know, an accountant or construction worker.
It's not just a standard kind of job, but I think it's becoming way more. It's so definitely common now, and everyone has different values. Like everyone values different things, and I think that's kind of slowly shifting. It used to be like manual labor jobs, or that's all that the older generation knew, and now it's switching. You can't have an internet job if there's no internet. Like so now we do have it, and it's just utilizing it. I think there's never been a better time you don't have to trade time for money anymore. You know, and you can make your passion your job. Like that's why, like my coaching program is called the True Potential Program, and yes, it's about health and fitness, but a lot of it is about helping people discover, like, be truly happy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's overlooked. It's like, oh, people work a job they hate and then retire, and that's when they can be happy. That's when they can play golf.
Because that's what's that quote is? It's they live to work.
Yeah.
Instead of work to live. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that the right way
I
around?
get you.
You know?
I get you. No, 100%. And it's just, and you don't want to. I never want to say it and come across it, because 9 to 5 jobs are needed. Like there's every job is needed. We need. There's a lot of industries that need workers, but it's just like, at the same time, you can always spend time on your passion. Yeah. And I think people, and I get it, people have, like, I put content out like this all the time, and I get it, some people have way more responsibilities. Sometimes they look at us and maybe go, well, you don't have kids or a mortgage or whatever. And it's just like, but it's just spending a little bit of time on what makes you happy. Whether it is a hike, whether, for me, I'm nearly happiest when I'm walking, sipping a coffee in the local forest. Like, it doesn't have to be something, and you don't have to dedicate your life to it, but just make time to focus on you and make you happy. Like.
That's it. So no, it is mad.
It's so important.
But even thinking like the generation after, it's like the internet, like you're saying, it says still so new. Yeah. Like how long? Like how many years? I don't know.
I remember dial-up when I was born. I was born in 95, and I remember used to having to shout down to tell mum to get off the phone. Like, that must have been early 2000. That must have been early 2000s. The dial-up was still a thing.
Yeah, that's right. Imagine trying to post a reel or a TikTok with dial-up sort of thing. You know,
the beeping in the background. The beep beep beep. That's a madness.
But
it's a madness.
Even look like the next generation coming up now. Like I feel like our generation, like we didn't have phones or iPads, stuff like that growing up. Like we were outside. Yeah. Whereas now this younger generation, their generation has the iPad and the phone sort of thing, you know? Yeah. So it's quite scary to
positives
see what
and negatives
the next thing's
to that
gonna
for
go,
sure.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, like there's both sides to it.
Yeah. There definitely is.
Like when we were growing up, like, oh, I want to be a doctor or a footballer.
Yeah.
Now it's I want to be a YouTuber.
I know.
Like that's
crazy.
You know?
And it is, it's a good, like, it's amazing, and for creative people, it's incredible because more people have a voice now. You can put more, and there's loads of value, but like a university degree, what's $9,000 a year? You went to England too, so you probably I know paid big
lovely
money.
Student debt.
Exactly. And look, I always say to people, I don't regret any of it. I wish it was a bit cheaper, but it's like the people I met and the things I got involved in, I don't like. It was amazing, and the experiences were worth it alone. But it is like, what were we talking about? What was I rambling on there about? Some random. I don't know what I was chatting about. I just went on a total tangent about university. Happy. It all goes back to happiness.
And coffee.
Chatting about university. I know, but it's simple things. Like simple things make you the happiest. It definitely does. Definitely does. But Kevin, man, I appreciate you coming on much.
Hey, thank you so much.
I don't even know what time we're on because that is the tiniest clock in the world on my iPad. But plug your socials. Where do people find you? Wild Irish Wanderer, obviously on Instagram.
Yeah, so Wild Irish Wanderer and Wild Irish Wanderer on TikTok as well.
Follow the man if you want to see travel content from all over, sliding down hills and all sorts. And I really, really appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thanks
really
for having me.
Appreciate it. And guys, thank you for listening. If you did enjoy it, drop a like, share, all that kind of stuff that people say. Follow, listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the rest. Share it with your friends. Morning Coffee with Tim was designed to help you soundtrack your steps, essentially. Grab a coffee, get your steps in. Physical exercise, feel good, and enjoy good coffee. That's what it's all about. But yeah, Kevin, appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
And I'll see you all soon.